Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds. I'm a property investor, and in this video, I wanted to basically just answer your property investment questions. So anything you've got around property, whether it be around mortgages, tax, deal sourcing, rent to rents, HMOs, anything at all, comment your question below in the comments, and I'm gonna do my very best to answer your property investment questions. I've been investing in property now for 12 years. I've done over 300 deals, and now it's your turn to pick my brain. So get commenting below and I'll do my best to answer. Now, right now I'm gonna answer the questions from last week, and I'm gonna answer your questions below in my next Q&A Sunday video next week. So before you comment though, do me a massive favor and hit the like button. Also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on so you don't miss my answer to your question. So do that right now. Okay, let's see what we got from last week. I got so many questions. So Bertie Evans says, do you predominantly invest in property but also in stocks, etc., or just property? Just curious. So I pretty much just invest in property and business. I have got a little bit of money in a few other things. I don't really talk about it because I don't feel like I'm in a position to advocate it because I don't know enough about it. Whereas property, I know really, really, really well. So the vast majority of my wealth is in property. And the thing is though, people think, Samuel, you should diversify. But I do diversify just in property. I've got a very vast property portfolio. I've got properties that I control. I've got commercial properties. I've got residential. I'm developing. So I feel like even if the economy changes quite a lot, my property portfolio is so diverse. And ultimately, here's why I love property so much, because everybody's always got to live somewhere. I mean, it's an asset that's not only going to give you rent, but it's also stood the test of time. So cash in the bank, we all know, cash in the bank is a bad idea because as things go up, as inflation happens, the money loses its value. So that's why people say, well, why don't we invest in gold or silver or property? Because property is bricks and mortar and it's stood the test of time. Everyone needs somewhere to live. We've got a shortage of houses, an overpopulation of people. So it's a really good place to have your money from a long-term capital appreciation perspective. But also, property is going to give you an income because it's an asset it's a producing asset. I like producing asset. And this isn't just me. I mean, the reason I invest what I invest in is because I study people like Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, who's one of the richest men alive, says that he likes assets that are producing assets. So, like Bitcoin, for example, don't get me wrong, Bitcoin's doing really, really, really well, but it doesn't give you any rent. It doesn't produce anything. You just have to hope that it just goes up. And then when it goes up, what are you going to do? You're going to sell? You're going to keep it? Financial freedom can only come from an asset that's producing revenue. So yeah, I love property. I know it, I live it, I breathe it, and that is where the vast majority of my money is held. All right, and that's just my opinion. That's just what I choose to do, and I have done for a very long time. Sergio says, love what you do. Question, how do I need to structure my lease option to benefit from capital appreciation from day one in England? Okay, so you want to benefit from day one, capital appreciation. If you want to benefit from day one, then you need to just fix the price below market value. So a lease option agreement is when you secure a property and you have the option to buy it down the line. So let's say the property is worth £250,000. If you secure it now for £220,000 with the option to buy it in 3 years' time, then you've immediately benefited from equity in the property. Capital appreciation though, that's where a property just appreciates over time. You can't predict that. You can try, you can buy in an area where properties have bottomed out and you suspect it's about to bounce back, but capital appreciation is something that is not a given. You know, you can predict and you can try. If you're doing a lease option agreement, I would still make sure that you're getting cash flow from it. Every property you buy, every asset that you own, in my opinion, has to be giving you money every month. If it's not producing anything and it's not an asset, it's just something that you own and you hope is going to go up in value, but something that you hope will go up in value doesn't pay the bills. You know, you need the bills paid. And I know that there's often all these buzzwords and excitement and trends, but what I'm saying is what served me for the last 12 years, what's enabled me to become financially free, and it's, in my opinion, very solid guidance. Okay, next, Tom Goodall. What made you make the complete career change from being a magician to a multi-million-pound property developer? So I didn't really go from a magician to a multi-million-pound property developer. I went from working for my dad, who had a children's entertainment agency, and I was, I guess, technically a magician for a few months when I was 16. But I didn't go from that to then being a multi-million property developer. I went from that to then quitting and crossing my fingers and hoping that I would be able to make a living in property. What made me do that was that I didn't want to work for my dad anymore. My dad was, me and my dad have got a very, very good relationship to this day, but working for him at that time was just not really great. The pay wasn't amazing, and I just felt controlled. I felt like a prisoner in the company. And 3 months after starting working for my dad when I was 16, I was just like, man, this is, I can't see this until I'm 67. I don't feel fulfilled. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I came to the conclusion that actually I needed to get some passive income, and I started going to some property networking events, and I thought, wow, property sounds great, and then just decided, like a lot of people that watch me, they're 17 years old, they get inspired, and I went full-time in property, which was risky. I was living at home with my mom, and I just thought my overheads aren't too high. I started working, I'm managing properties. I got my first property at the age of 17. I was like, yes. Then all the rules changed with the big recession and the crash, and I had to adapt. And I went through the recession and got through it. I was just starting out, so I didn't have anything to lose. As I say, got through it. In fact, most people, you'll find, they actually make money in recessions, in crashes. It's a good time to get into business during a crash. Everything is the opposite of what you would think. So that's how it started. And then I just organically grew my property company into a multi-million-pound company. But that didn't come easy. It came with a lot of work and many, many years and a lot of failures. But I am where I am right now. So I hope that helps. All right. Dureo says, Samuel, thanks for the upload. What do you think about investing in the Wirral Cheshire while still living in London? I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. In fact, I think it's better for you to invest in Cheshire right now than London. And if I was living in London, I'm living just outside London, London has gone up in value a lot and it's dropping right now. And not only that, but the return on investment in London is very, very poor, generally speaking. So investing far away from home is something that a lot of people don't want to do because they say, I need to be close by because if there's a problem, I need to step in. But the thing is, if that's your plan A, if your plan A is, if there's a problem, I need to step in, there will be a problem. And then you'll have to step in. It's not financial freedom. It's you being a slave to your business. And the whole way that I've structured my business is that it's passive. So the properties might not be near my house. It doesn't matter. Why? Because I've got management companies in place. So you got to follow the money, and you've got to invest in areas that's going to give you a good return on investment and systemize it well. That's my advice. Okay, is a mortgage to live in a good idea? Is a mortgage to live in a good idea? It's not a good or a bad idea. It's probably better than buying a house to live in cash, having a mortgage. But a mortgage on your house where you live in is still technically bad debt. Because good debt and bad debt, okay? Good debt is when you take out a loan, but that loan that you've got is actually producing you money. And people get mixed up with this. They think debt is bad. Or they think debt is good. And the truth is, there's good debt and there's bad debt. And good debt is very good and bad debt is very bad. If you borrow money to live in a house, that house that you live in isn't paying you any money. Because you're living there. You're not renting it out. You might go, oh yeah, but Samuel, it's going up in value. Yeah, but you don't know that. Again, that's a chance. It might go up in value, it might go down. Capital appreciation doesn't pay the bills. It's not giving you any money because you're living in it. And if you rented it out, chances are it probably wouldn't give you any money anyway because it's not the right type of house to work as a buy-to-let. So getting a mortgage to live in a house, my favourite option is renting. I rent where I live. I rent where I live and I rent out what I own. And I think that's the smartest thing to do. But I think I would rather have a mortgage on a house that I live in than have to save up and buy it cash. Because then I got so much money tied up in a house that's not producing me any money. That's not good. All right, last question. I hope you're enjoying the video. If you are, smash the like button as well. Don't forget to subscribe. Last question. JBH says, how would a 17-year-old do deals such as rent-to-rents and rent-to-serviced accommodation? Would they need to do it in someone else's name? So JBH, if you are 17 and you're wanting to do rent-to-rents and stuff, the hardest part of doing deals is finding the deals. That's the hardest part. If you can find the deals, I mean rent-to-rent deals, you probably need to put a couple £1,000 into a rent-to-rent deal. And then the work involved with the rent-to-rent, it could make £500, £1,000 a month. If you can find that deal and you can put the work in and produce the profits, but you're not 18, so you're struggling with the paperwork side of things or whatever, just get someone in on the deal. Bring in a guarantor to back you and even put down the £2,000 that's needed up front. Hey, will you sponsor me and back me? I'll find the deal, I'll manage it, you put the money in, you put it in your name, and we'll go 50-50 on the profits. And I'll prove myself on this first deal, and I'll get experience, and I'll get money, and I'll get testimonials, and I'll build assets. And I'm not talking about assets in terms of physical property assets, I'm talking about assets in terms of your brand and your story now. A testimonial is an asset, it's just a different kind of asset. So you want to be building those kind of assets as a 17-year-old and experience. And then when you're 18, you go, right, now I'm going to do another one, but I don't need a guarantor right now. I'm going to use the money that I made from the first deal. Just get started, just do something. Too many people think, too many people make excuses, too many people say, I'm only 17, I'm too young, or I'm too old. I haven't got the energy. I'm in a job. I can't do it. Look, what did I say? Right at the start of this video, what did I say? I said that I was 17 when I started, same age as you, and I said, but thank God I was living with my mum, so my overheads were low. What did I do right there? I flipped the cards. I took something that some people would say is a negative, and I flipped the cards and I turned it into a positive. I said, I'm 17, which is great, because thank God I'm living at home, my overheads are low, so I can afford to quit my job and go full-time into it. What did I say? I said I got in during a recession. I said, but hey, I had nothing to lose. That's how I got rich. And I see too many people, too many kids. I'm sorry to rant and have a go, but I see too many kids coming to me 17, 18. I can shout at a 17-year-old because I was 17 when I got started. And you know what they say? They're like, I'm only 17, I haven't got the money, I haven't got the credit, I haven't got the this. I'm thinking, shut up, fool. You're 17, which means you've got no overheads. Risks doesn't even exist in your world. You got everything going for you. Oh, and if you're too old, I'll say the same thing to you with more respect, but I'll say you've got more experience. You've got this. You've got to take the cards that you've got and you've been dealt with, and you've got to flip it for your advantage, and don't focus on what you don't have. You need to focus on what you do have. That's the biggest thing I can say to you guys. Anyway, any questions you got, comment below. I want to see you win. That's why I'm getting passionate now. I want to see you win. If you want to join me, by the way, at the Property Investors Crash Course, 12-hour program with me. 12-hour program where we work on your plan and we make sure that you become skilled by the end of the day to find good deals. It's a free program. It's on me. It's on the house. Comment below your questions. Join me at the Property Investors Crash Course. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll see you there. Peace out. Thank you so much for watching.